Mumbai's real estate market is dying, and the tax paying middle class are suffering the most and are the most helpless victims to this completely curable disease. The heart of the largest growing economy in the world is being poisoned, killing its middle class along with it. Uncontrollable real estate prices that make it impossible to own a home within the city, ever increasing pollution, and filth thrown everywhere are just some of the consequences Mumbai has to face. And all these problems can be blamed onto one cause, one infestation: slums. Slums are the biggest anchor to Mumbai's growth. It is a rash, literally, it looks like a rash. If you look at Mumbai's map with slums highlighted, they look like a rash. They make the city of dreams look like the city of filth and uncivil wannabes. They're polluting the waters, they're polluting the air, they destroy mangroves, they're deforesting the jungle, they're dirty. They blatantly litter anywhere in the city, dumping garbage wherever they feel like, and blame the country and the government for how dirty the city and their living conditions are. They, and they alone, are to blame for not only one of the most major setbacks of the city, but for their plight too. But it seems odd, though, to blame them, to blame the poor, so to speak, when all this while they have been playing the victim card. But what most people don't realize is that they have been very sneakily taking over the city, illegally encroaching in every free space they can get their hands on, and making it look like a city built in a slum and not the other way around. They encroach everywhere they get space: footpaths, empty fields, hillsides, jungles. Then they shamelessly expect the government to construct and designate a building for them, which the government has to do with no other option because the size of the slum have grown to such proportions that there is nothing else that can be done. The best example of this would be the Dharavi slum in Mumbai, which is the largest slum in the world, a fact that Mumbai should be ashamed about, but somehow are proud about the so-called tourist attraction. Should any country really be proud about the fact that they are home to the largest slum in the world? Really? Now, how exactly did this rash grow to such proportions? Grow to the humongous problem that it is today? Well, to know that, you have to go back a little bit. Mumbai is the city of dreams. So, many migrants from around the country would travel to Mumbai to make their dreams come true. Now, it could be any dream, be it to become a successful businessman like Gautam Adani or Anil Agarwal, or something as simple as escaping poverty, lawlessness, or a city run by gangsters and goons, which was a real problem, believe it or not. Now, some people could escape it, but most of them just stayed back in the slums. Slowly, they realized that the more they are in numbers, the more they could influence local politicians. So, not only did they start calling more of their relatives and friends from the villages, but started having more children. It is simple logic. If you earn 3 lakh rupees per year, you should not have 5 children in Mumbai. The math just doesn't work out. Then slowly, local corrupt politicians who wanted nothing but power would throw crumbs to these slum dwellers in return for their vote and would rise to power. Politicians would keep repeating this, and slums would keep taking advantage of their size and number and get more perks from these corrupt politicians. Like looking the other way when slums illegally encroach on more land, and these politicians would happily let it go as long as they stayed in power. This essentially is vote bank politics. This has ended up costing Mumbai a lot of growth momentum, which is exactly why the India Alliance government should not come back to power. Now, what exactly was the method that they used to grow to this scale? Migrants from all over the country would come to Mumbai to reap in the benefits of the economic juggernaut that it is. But when they came here, they realized that they couldn't afford the lifestyle here, and the real estate prices were far beyond what they even could dream of. So, they would buy illegally annexed and encroached land from low-level politicians or corrupt businessmen who would sell them the land because it gave them money and a large group of people indebted to them, creating a vote bank. Now, initially, it was a small patch of land here, a small patch of land there. But as demand grew, need for more land grew along with it. So, in an effort to make more land, they started dumping debris from construction sites on soft land like mangroves to make it solid. Then they would dump large amounts of plastic and household garbage and burn it, not only polluting the air around it, but hardening the ground enough to build small slums on it. And finally, when this land is ready, they will most likely create fake paperwork showing ownership and sell it to migrants, thus making them slums. Now you might wonder, why didn't anybody object? There are three main reasons for it. 1. No one wanted to complain to the pre-2014 government, as it was pretty corrupt and sloppy. So if you complain to some authority, they were most likely bribed beforehand to rat on you to the bad guys, which brings us to number 2. If these encroachers found out that you were trying to stop them, they would most likely come after you, either to harass you or more extreme means of retaliation. And 3. Nobody in their busy Mumbai lives, in a race to improve their lives, would do anything for the betterment of the society. Cause it was not their problem. Seems like your problem now, doesn't it? It has become such a huge problem that it is practically driving the middle class to sacrifice and compromise their hard-earned standard of living. This is happening in two major ways. Expensive real estate. Mumbai is the 8th most expensive place to buy any real estate in the world. Slums have amassed so much land in the heart of Mumbai that the little land left that is not connected to theirs is so expensive that houses built on it goes for a small fortune. Like a 1500 square feet flat in the suburbs goes for $1 million US. And the land adjoining slums are cheaper but still expensive enough to get you worried. Because even if you don't want to live next to such a disease like a slum, it's still Mumbai and living in it has its charm, glory and benefits. One of which is its climate. Mumbai has the most fulfilling summers, the most breathtaking monsoons, the most relaxing and festive winters. You might wonder now, how did slums affect the climate and the environment? Well, slums have screwed up even the weather in Mumbai. Because of them, there are lesser mangroves, lesser trees everywhere in Mumbai to provide clean, fresh air and shade in the winters and summers respectively. They cause air pollution, sound pollution, water pollution. Air pollution. Slum dwellers are so socially stupid and careless about their civic duties that they don't realize that garbage goes inside a garbage bin and not on the side of the road or to illegally encroach land that doesn't belong to them. They will throw every piece of waste their house produces in the streets or in water bodies or anywhere they find space, and then they light it on fire, releasing harmful amounts of smoke and pollution in the air surrounding it. And when they are stopped, they do what all uncivilized people do: fight back saying they are right and it's none of our business. Water pollution. Now a lot of this littering that slums cause goes into water bodies like rivers and streams. A good example of this would be the Methi River in Mumbai. Once a beautiful river carving through Mumbai city, now looks like a gutter. And yes, slums are to blame for this. What they didn't realize is that when they throw garbage onto the roads, goats and cows don't eat a lot of the plastic. It ends up in a river or a stream. This brings us to sound pollution. Slum dwellers don't realize what it means to live in a civilized society. They insist on constantly, for no good reason, playing loudspeakers on the roads, disturbing everybody around it just because they feel like it. It is impossible to work, it is impossible to sleep. Senior citizens suffer greatly, yet they continue. There are only two things that can actually stop this problem, to cure this rash, to slow it down. Firstly, rules should be better and more strictly enforced on the slums. And given that a small part of the fault is the previous government's, better city planning could go a long way in stopping this problem. Sadly, the city planning in India at large is bad enough for an entirely different video. Given the sheer size of the task of getting rid of slums, it will take at least 10 years. Which begs the question, why hasn't it been done yet? Because it keeps coming back. Every time one slum is removed, a new slum sprouts up somewhere else. The reason why slums have not gone away in such a long time, and why they continue to persist and grow like a foot fungus, is because of their mentality. Slum dwellers never correct what they do wrong and will never teach their children any better. And that way of life keeps continuing and getting passed down and turns into their defining culture from what was just a few bad habits encouraged by stupid politicians. And no, I am not against cultural diversity or culture in general. I am against the culture of slums, which has become being antisocial, uncivilized, and a nuisance to a growing, prosperous, civilized city, which was meant to be a beautiful place that promoted good social behavior and hard work in return for a great place to call home.